Hello and welcome to Billy Ho Sports. Today's podcast, we're dedicating all things Breeders' Cup. We're getting closer and closer. Uh, Yesterday, Monday, began pre-entry, and Wednesday, tomorrow, we make the announcement, and then we'll have more clarity on who's going where. So, for some extra news and notes, I have profiles on all the Breeders' Cup Classic contenders on my YouTube channel. But that's not all, actually. I've also dropped top contender videos for the $4 million turf, the $2 million turf mile, and the Breeders' Cup distaff. So if you're new to Billy Ho Sports, you know I'm passionate about horse racing, but I also create some fantastic content on daily fantasy sports, aka DFS, for PGA golf, NFL football, and the like. So today's podcast is dedicated to a couple of brilliant, fantastic 3-year-olds that just had their careers cut a bit short. That would be Forte and Echo Zulu, two great ones that we will not get to see in this year's Breeders' Cup Classic, have both been retired. So we're just cover their careers and give them a send off like we can do on Billy Ho Sports. So don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Give us that thumbs up. Drop any comments in there or questions, and I'll do my best to answer them. So let's get the show on the road. Like I said previously, Forte has been retired. According to Todd Pletcher, he grabbed his quarter hoof, in the Travers, and that turned into a quarter crack. As you can see, I'm going to show you some, if you're watching on YouTube, so just some pictures I pulled off the internet to give you a better idea on exactly what the injury was. So he was sent to the farrier after the crack in the left front foot, Ian McKinley, and to patch it up. And so he was galloping and everything, but it was going to take too much time for him to be ready for the Breeders' Cup. So they just pretty much ran out of time. So instead of just debating briefly like they did to run him at 4 years old, they decided to go ahead and put him up for auction at the big sale. Or actually, they might not be doing that. Actually, I think he's just retiring. They're going to put him out to stud. So anyway, this is my eyeball test in the Travers replay. So you may have other opinions, but let's take a good look at the race. And I have watched countless races by Forte multiple times this year. So this is what I see. And so at the start, at the break, you can see him in there. He's a little raucous in the gate, but that's no biggie. Horses do that all the time. But to me, on the break, he looks a bit off, like he's running a little gingerly, and that might just be the eyeballs playing tricks on me because I know what happened in the race. So you can have your own opinions there, but here's where I see the difference, and we're going to pick it up down the stretch, is he makes his move to the outside like he typically does in every race. He's in great position to close, and at this point down the stretch, he would just be gobbling up ground and closing this race. Whether or not he would have won the race, he would have still closed out, and I bet you he'd have finished at least second, but I think he would have won the race, honestly. So anyway, he swung outside, and you would normally see him switch gears there and begin closing the distance. And he just doesn't fire. He just kind of flattens out. So whether he wins or comes up short, he's closing there. So the connections did debate on running him at 4, but they decided he's done enough. So Forte's journey begins in the world of horse racing when he was bred by Southgate Farm in Kentucky, and Repo Stables, partnered with St. Elias, acquired him for $110,000 at the 2021 Keeneland September sale. That's a nice return on investment. I want to say somewhere in the neighborhood of over $3 million earned. So right from the debut, he shows immense promise, closing out 2-year-old season with a bang. 3 straight grade 1 victories, including the Breeders' Cup Juvenile, and wins the coveted 2-year-old Horse of the Year award. So as for his 3-year-old season, was a roller coaster ride. He comes out of the gate hot once again. Grade 2 Fountain of Youth, no problem, takes that one down, runs it right back in the prestigious Grade 1 Florida Derby. And that was where we ran down the future Derby winner, Mage, down the stretch. Epic. You could just see him gobbling up ground. Go back and watch the replay of that race. However, just as they're gearing up for the Kentucky Derby, he gets the bruised hoof. Now, I don't know if this is these two injuries, the quarter cracked and the bruised hoof he got months back, are the same, even the same hoof. I'm not going to get into that. But to add to the drama, actually he had to miss that race, obviously the Kentucky Derby. But to add to the drama, the commission, racing commission, placed him on the 14-day DL, which left him out of the Grade 1 Preakness. So he had to wait, and comes back pretty strong in the Belmont, running a closing like he typically does, closing second place to Arcangelo there, and then closes later on. He closes out in the Jim Dandy. Of course, we all know the controversy surrounding that, so everybody's got their own opinions. But Forte's retirement marks the end of an eventful chapter in his racing career. But hopefully it's the beginning of an exciting new phase as he takes on a role as the stallion and Spindrift Farm. So we'll be keeping an eye on those future offspring and see what they might bring to our world. So long, Forte. We enjoyed you, and good luck out there doing what you do best. Okay, and on to Echo Zulu. And I do believe I misspoke earlier if I lumped both of these horses into the 3-year-old category. Obviously, Echo Zulu was the 2021 2-year-old champion filly, so that would make her 4 years old this year. So my apologies for my drawback there. Anyway, Echo Zulu, champion 2-year-old filly of 2021, sustained a fracture of her left front fetlock. I'm gonna put a picture of that up there. It's that back kind of ankle thing on a horse. So while training in Santa Anita Park, October 13th, was intending to start in the Breeders' Cup, like I said, filly mare sprint. Had to have emergency surgery to save her life. A week or so post-op, and they did the surgery. It seems to be successful. Doing well in the barn. Echo Zulu does face a lengthy recovery period in which you got to keep adequate circulation to that affected leg. It's vital to the long-term prognosis. So fingers crossed for the 4-year-old daughter of Gunrunner. Echo Zulu is 3 for 3 this year and 9 for 11 over her career, with earnings of more than $2.6 million for the L&N Racing and Winchell Thoroughbreds group. So Echo Zulu dominated a strong field, winning the Ballerina Handicap on August 26th at Saratoga Racehorse most recently, earning her spot in that filly mare sprint. I'm thinking the likely favorite, her and Goodnight Olive, going back to her 2-year-old campaign, undefeated at 2, including the BC Juvenile Fillies at Del Mar, entered her 3-year-old season with high hopes and on winning the Kentucky Oaks. She won 2 out of the 4 starts, but her 2 career defeats came in the 2 biggest races of her life for her 3-year-olds, which would have been the Kentucky Oaks and the Breeders' Cup filly mare sprint later on, beaten soundly by Goodnight Olive, a horse she later obviously turned the tables on in that Ballerina. So the November 4th Breeders' Cup filly mare sprint was going to set up to be the rubber match between these 2 powerhouse 4-year-olds. Echo Zulu should spend the next couple of months convalescing in California, and God willing, she survives to go on to have some babies of her own. So that'll do it for the show. Shout out to all the new subscribers and all the people watching today. Thank you. I appreciate you more than you know. See you soon.